When property is bought and sold, there's the price of the place, and then there are costs related to completing the transaction. Let me say that again. You have the negotiated price of the home, and then there are costs on top of that negotiated price to execute the agreement. It's a little like buying a new car at a dealer, and then they add tax and registration on top of the price. These extra expenses are called closing costs, or in some parts of the country, settlement fees. Hi, my name is Jason Allen-Rouman, and I'm a real estate agent in Palm Springs, California. So what's in this closing costs bucket? Well, while each transaction is unique, there are several expenses that are fairly consistent. For example, almost all municipalities have what's known as a transfer fee. Now, this is basically a tax levied on the parties when real property changes hands. Additionally, some places have specific taxes or fees associated with bonds passed by voters, and nearly everywhere the local and state government wants to collect the first installment of annual property taxes. Now, due to tax cycles and how assessments work in your area, you may also get a supplemental bill later on. In California, we have something called Proposition 13 that greatly impacts how property tax works. I'll do a separate video on the basics of Proposition 13, so look for that later. After taxes and transfer fees, borrowers will have costs associated with their loan. There's often documentation charges, points, an appraisal, your first mortgage payment, and sometimes mortgage insurance. You'll also have to pay a title company to research the property. Now, this is an important step, and it's done in nearly all transactions because you want to make sure claims against the property are known before the title is put in your name. Now, you'll also have options around buying something called title insurance, and there are different types of coverage that I can't explain here, so look to your title officer to explain those to you at the appropriate time. Speaking of insurance, you'll naturally have some sort of homeowner's insurance policy. This is similar to car insurance in that you're buying protection from future damages and claims. Your first payment for your insurance may be in the closing costs, so your lender knows you didn't forget to buy it. And if you're going into a homeowners association, your initial dues and fees levied by the HOA may be among your closing costs. If you're a seller in an HOA, you may have some contributions to your HOA or have to pay any unpaid special assessments. The escrow company hired to manage the transaction funds will have charges, and these will appear as a separate line item on the accounting. Okay, the big one is usually the real estate brokerage fees. In nearly every deal, this will be on the seller's side of the ledger, but again, since everything in real estate is open to negotiation, it's unfair of me to say the seller always pays this. As an aside, since becoming an agent in 2007, I've never seen a buyer pay the brokerage fees. Sometimes there are miscellaneous charges for things like mailbox keys, FedExes, notaries, fuel balances, and any utility connections. If any of these seem questionable, ask your real estate agent or escrow officer. Now, all of these costs are itemized on a standardized form called the closing disclosure. If you've bought or sold a home in the U.S. in the past, you may recall something called the HUD-1 statement. The closing disclosure replaced the HUD-1 in 2017. The closing disclosure is typically issued a few days before the scheduled closing date. Please take the time to read it so that you understand the accounting before your closing appointment. Now, if anything in this video is confusing or you have additional questions, speak to your real estate professional, or if you don't have a good agent, reach out to me. I'll do my best to help you, or I'll try and refer you to someone in my network that can. And keep in mind, this list of closing costs isn't comprehensive, but should give you some idea of what to expect. As always, I hope you found this video informative, and I really appreciate your watching. Have a great day.